I wasn't doing art, and had like 600 people at me on Facebook like in a month, and I felt the pressure of like I gotta do something when I noticed that all artists were sharing art and I had nothing to share at the moment. So I started to write these stories, but the stories were like, 600 characters or 500 characters or even more. But they wouldn't fit in the format. Facebook only allows you 420 characters. So out of that, I will put the story in there and I'll be like, you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need this. And then those stories were developed out of that format. And then people started to like them, and people forgot that I was an artist, and they started to add me just for the stories. And I even forgot that I was an artist because I didn't paint for 3 years. Lorraine from Allen Projects came along and we did a book, and the book is great. They're just funny experiences of me growing up in the projects or outside the projects, or my experience in the art scene. Because I've always found myself I've always found myself in extreme situations, like in the projects where it's like a hyper reality that was really, really violent and very surreal. And then one day, like years later, being at a celebrity's home, and then looking back and thinking, man, this is crazy, to have the experience of being at a celebrity's home and being the guest of honor, and thinking back that, man, I almost got shot by that guy or whatever. or showing with Patrick Painter or Larry Gagosian, having those extremes. I looked back and said, I don't think my life is the norm, so I think I have a lot to share. If it wasn't about Facebook, I wouldn't have done it. Like people put this most craziest stuff and they forget. So once I realized that, I saw it as an opportunity to just kind of like entertain myself, and and it was great because it was instant response. It was kind of like you have the story, you write it, you post it, and you get the response. And you don't get that in art. In art takes a lot of time. You have the idea, you have to sort it out, you have to paint it, and have people over, and then have a show. It's a long process. So this was great, and it was fun and easy.
The work you make is so different from the place these stories are coming from. Do you think your stories will begin to influence your paintings?
No.
Why not?
Okay, well, they do and they don't. I'll give you an idea. Like the back of the head, the first initial idea started from the experience of racial profiling, and so that was, I wanted to create a portrait where I could make the non-black or Latino into a suspect. So I started with doing like a white gang member and making him the suspect, and then it didn't work. So then I put on three-quarter, and still revealed too much information. And then I just turned them around, from behind, and then something else came up, and I let go the idea of racial profiling. I let go the idea of whatever I had before, and I noticed that there was another experience. I didn't have words for it, but everyone saw it, so I just kept on doing it. And then from that point, I wanted to create a portrait where you can, like capture who they were without showing the face. So I had to focus on the ears, I had to focus on the neck. And it led from one thing to another, and then from there, I wanted to create something that was abstract. So at the end, it became abstract. And then I realized from racial profiling to abstraction. So they do have a connection, but in the end, not really, because I had to let go of that from the beginning in order to get to the end point. So all those stories are related to the work in that manner.
Do you see your stories influencing work in other media like film or the theater?
Yeah, I want to do a film. You know, I saw a short film on YouTube called Two Cars in One Night, where it was just relying on the story and acting, and it was only like three characters. There was no sound, and it was just focusing on that one moment. When I saw that, I said to myself, I can do this, you know, because I'm a movie fanatic and I understand film. You know, I understand what makes a good film. You know, I'm aware of the cinematography, the lighting, you know, the acting and everything, the music. So when I saw that, I said, you know, I can do this. I even asked a friend who's a director if he can help me. Then I realized that I should just do it myself, just jump in, you know. So I am planning later doing a short story, like from 6 to 10 minutes of a short movie out of one of the stories.
Do you continue to write stories?
No more.
No more?
No more. No more, because I went to an opening of a friend, and then I realized it kind of hit me that people were putting so much attention to my stories, and they're really funny. They were confusing the stories with the work. And then I go, you know, this is not how I want to be seen. You know, there's something on the side, it's something behind the work, but it's not the work, and it's something for fun. I take my work very serious. You know, when I'm doing my work, there's no pleasure. It's more like a meditative moment, but there's no like, whoopee. There's no like having fun and pleasure. You know, I'm really serious, and I love developing the ideas. So I don't want people to get the wrong message. So look, this is it.
But why can't your stories also be an art form, and it's okay to have pleasure? Allow yourself the permission.
I agree, but from my experience, people are not able to separate them. You know, like they approach me and attaching like the violence of some of the stories to the back of the heads, which the back of the heads, all the models were non-Latinos. You know, they were whites, Asians, and black, and they had nothing to do with gangs. You know, so they start to tie them in together. You know, I mean, I'm not doing that work anymore. It's a long time, you know, but I don't want them to be tying in the stories to the new work.
So tell us about your new work, and let's begin with the drawing that you've created for the book. We know that Nana Ghana is your muse, so tell us a little bit about her. Why have you chosen her?
Well, I was looking. I love fashion. I was looking at a fashion magazine because that's where I get my color palettes. So I saw a black model with makeup, and when I saw the photo, right away it got my attention. I realized this looks abstract because of her color skin. I'm not thinking about identity. I'm just looking at a woman who is black, but with makeup, it looked abstract. It was like I saw a painting, and I noticed that any other race, whether it be Asian or white or Latino, it would just be a person with makeup. So I then thought to myself, you know, I'm gonna do a series on this, you know, and just focusing on color. So it took me a long time to find this model. I couldn't find the right model. And when I saw Nana, she's beautiful, you know, she's sexy, she's open, she's strong, she's never the same. You know, very like always changing. I said, well, it should be great. And as I started thinking about this, I just want to treat it as the way I see color, not color in terms of identity, but color in terms of just how color relates to each other. Because I love abstract paintings, but I don't see that way. I see things within a figure. So they're really abstract paintings, but they happen to have a figure. Something to tie it in together is kind of like Matisse, where he incorporated the figure mean, he treated the figure the same way he treated everything behind and in front of the figure. So this is how exactly how I'm gonna do it, where you'll see like Nana should be semi-nude, and everything will be treated with the same importance. What she's sitting on, what's behind her, everything's gonna be treated the same. So you're gonna see these shapes and colors and how they relate to each other, and that's it. You know, I'm not gonna be thinking about identity or that she's black. No, you know, I'm just concerned about the color and how it relates to each other. So in the print, I wanted it to be very dark, and then just focus on these little nuances of color, which to me is a very beautiful painting, and there's something abstract about it. And every print is not the same because I'm putting a lot of handwork. In many ways, they're like one-of-one monoprints with an addition of 1 of 40. It's charcoal and Prismacolor pencil.
You've been destroying the work you've made these past few years. Is this an art form in itself for you, or are you trying to achieve perfection?
It's not about perfection, or it's not about making art out of the process. It's just more me just, you know, like revealing the process that I take in order to get to that space where there's no ego involved. Because when I get to that space where there's no ego involved, that's when I'm able to create exactly what I want. It has nothing to do with perfection.
So it's a state of being.
Yeah.
Very Buddhist.